But give you this background, right? That education is multifaceted, right? And the impact on our communities, I think, in my opinion, is unquantifiable. And the organizations like Fairport School District that are involved in education, their role is complex. So here's your question. Where would you be without your level of education that you have today? Where would you be without that? And who influenced you along that path? Now, let me get back to more traditional ways. I'm here to welcome you, so thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for coming. It's a wonderful event. I'm Peter Forsberg, President of the Board of Education. We have several other board members here with us. I see Damon Buffum over here and Joyce Kostick. Glad they're here tonight as well. But we have others here with us I'd like to recognize. We have here up at the front also our superintendent, Brett Provenzano. In my opinion, there is not an equal in the state of New York to Brett, so we're grateful he's our superintendent. No less, though, is our Fairport Education Association President, Susan Kaseman, who is here, and in and of herself, a teacher extraordinaire, so we're glad she's here with us tonight. Thank you. And then our wonderful village mayor, I wish I knew her better. I don't live in the village. I'm sorry. I'll think about that. But Julie Demaritz, so thank you for coming here. I look forward to hearing from you. And we have, I recognize specifically Diane Dudley, who's the chairperson of the selection committee, standing in the back where she always is, does so much. And there's other members, I'd just like to recognize them quickly of the committee. Renee Doser, Geraldine Boynton, Robert Clark, Tony Exton, Mark Lincoln, Tom Polma, Beth Puckett, and Tracy Tingy. So we're grateful for all their efforts. They put a lot into this. And the students, as they leave, sorry, I know we gave them a round of applause, but thank you so much. So moving on to the program, again, so glad that you're here, but the questions that I asked you to ponder, and didn't give you a lot of time to do it, but you'll have the rest of the evening. I think you're going to hear answers to those questions as you learn more about those people we're here to celebrate tonight. They weren't asked that question specifically. The nomination form doesn't have those questions on it, but that's what comes out of it, right, is the impact that an educator has on individuals. And if education is multifaceted, because if it was only about imparting knowledge, as a school district, we'd probably organize ourselves very differently, right? If we believed that the test was the only important thing and that's how we measure and impart knowledge, then we could do things much differently. But it wouldn't be very enjoyable, and it wouldn't be successful. Again, I suppose, in my opinion. But the multifacets of education are that people make connections. They experience diversity in our schools. They explore and they get excited to learn about subjects that perhaps aren't their favorites. And those who are sitting up here and the students behind them know this all so very well. We have received the nomination forms as a selection committee. We read through them, and indeed, these individuals exemplify everything that is appropriate for the wall of distinction. So we are grateful that you're here to celebrate with us tonight. I'm going to turn the time over to our superintendent, who I think the world of, for a few more comments and to introduce the rest of the program. But again, I thank you for being here.
Thank you, Peter Forsgren, and thank you to our Board of Education, who gives us the opportunity and puts the moments like these at the forefront. It's important to recognize and celebrate people, because at the core of what we do, it's all about people and making those deep connections. And our Board of Education knows that that's a priority. In order to make our students the very best, we need to make sure we have incredible educators here. And that's what we're doing here at the Education Wall of Distinction. We're honoring Karen Hess, Kay Merlin, Mary Beth Foote, Mike Torelli, Rich Onabeni, Sandy Hudak, and Scott Parker. Let's give them a big round of applause. You know, it's really cool. As I'm entering my fifth year, I could say that I've connected with each one of these educators, and I've seen them in action. If it wasn't for them having my own children or seeing them throughout the last several years display their passions and their craft and their interest in connecting with students, I'm honored to be a part of this and your special night. The Education Wall of Distinction is simply our way to say thank you. Thank you for realizing that you are part of a bigger picture here in Fairport by modeling unconditional love. We're not afraid to say that word, love, here in Fairport. In fact, and it's an important part of who we are. And these wonderful educators, at the core of everything they've done, is rooted in love. In Fairport, we understand that people make a difference and that our staff is a precious resource that ignites and inspires our students to greater feats. We recognize that you have the propensity every single day to add value to our Fairport experiences. These 7 individuals have gained the admiration of countless children and families, as well as their colleagues. We are proud to call you colleagues and friends. To our Honorable Wall of Distinction Committee members, thank you. Mr. Forsberg did a wonderful job in introducing them. Appreciate their efforts and commitment to this worthy recognition and program that is now in its 14th year. The stories of our nominees make us want to be better, truly want to be better. Wake up every single day, want to be better, to emulate the worthy attributes and the high values and standards that you have set forth. Tonight we are hearing your stories as depicted from our student reps who will present their awards. Renee Dozer will be talking about Karen Hess's deep-seated commitment to the education profession, her students' growth, and the process of learning. Kate Isaac will present how Joe Kay Merlin's irrepressible positive presence and attitude has helped him earn the trust and respect and admiration of his students and his colleagues. Karina Catalano will convey the heart, love, and soul that is naturally woven into Mary Beth Foot's interactions with her students and the families she serves. Jillian Russo will speak to the enduring inner qualities of Mike Torelli. I have a hard time saying Mike. I want to say Coach, So Coach Torelli, that translates into life-defining moments for his students and his student athletes. Aiden Cornelius will share how Rich Onabeni's legacy is defined by the deep connections he has made as an educator and the brotherhood, sisterhood values he lives by and embraces daily, and that we all strive to emulate. Madison Kelly will detail Sandy Hudek's relentless dedication to ensuring that our students have authentic experiences so they are prepared for life beyond Fairport High School. Kat Zimmerman will articulate how Scott Parker's genuine care and interest in serving the whole child defines his professional practice and personal mission. Tonight we are affirming the many gifts that Karen, Joe, Mary Beth, Mike, Rich, Sandy, and Scott have bestowed upon countless of colleagues and children in the Fairport schools. We anticipate hearing their stories and celebrating in their joy tonight. But before we do that, I want to invite our FEA president, Mrs. Susan Kaseman, to have a few words. Susan Kaseman.
Good evening, honorees Mary Beth, Karen, Sandy, Joe, Rich, Scott, and Mike, as well as family, colleagues, friends, and students of our honored guests and recipients. Also, we greet our board members, administrators, the mayor, and FEA members present. Recently, while organizing FEA documents, I discovered a 2006 article written by Diane Dudley, our current Wall of Distinction chair. In the article, Diane stated that 2005 marked the year of our first inductees. Diane spoke about the original architect of the wall, a revered past president of our Board of Education, Dr. Matt DiRizio, who was a member of the Tiberio family. Matt wanted to honor people who made a difference for students in the Fairport school family. According to Diane, Matt had interviewed one of his former social studies teachers, John Clark, and he felt in his heart that other Fairport employees have made a similar difference in students' lives, as Mr. Clark had in his. So Matt persisted, and we now have our 14th year of the Wall of Distinction honorees. FEA is proud to be a continuous sponsor of the event. Diane, as was said, is the chair of this wonderful committee and has steered the effort with passion and commitment, and for her dedication we owe her our gratitude. The other members of the present committee have worked hard to produce the celebration We thank them all and give a special shout out to Geraldine Boynton, who has arranged refreshments and decorations for most of the honoree gatherings. Tonight we have 7 recipients who merit the accolade due to their life's work. These 7 are the teachers among us who model the true professional with excellence running through their beings without apparent effort. They are the kind-hearted teacher with time for every child, and they are the friend with time to encourage every colleague with humor and compassion. Truly, they remind us daily why we entered teaching. Whether the honoree makes the history of early civilization relevant to today's 9th grader, or whether they work with a team of all potential Division I players, they are always reaching for the stars. Whether the honoree relishes the story of the 5th grader as if he never heard a similar anecdote before, or whether the honoree practices interview skills with high school job seekers and reacts as if she never previously heard such an interesting response, these teachers are always striving to make those lifelong connections with their students. Whether they are orchestrating a captivating 6th grade classroom while attaining a National Board Certification Award, or whether they are engaging kindergarten children and introducing a love for school and instilling a love for learning, or whether they are wowing juniors with amazing chemistry lessons, they are reaching out their hands to all students, no matter the background, stating each student has a life of promise. Whether the honorees are promoting business education, elementary ELA, and math, social studies curriculum, or lifelong physical education, they have the hearts that beat for the students and young adults of the Fairport community. Each one has used his or her leadership skills for the betterment of the whole. They continually advocate for Fairport teachers and students, and they may even represent all teachers throughout New York State and, incredibly, the nation. So whether their mornings begin with kindergarten hugs or 6th grade high fives or 12th grade handshakes, they do it instinctively with care, compassion, and they start each day with magic. That ensures each student knows he or she is most important. Mike, Scott, Rich, Joe, Sandy, Karen, and Mary Beth, this accolade is an accomplishment of distinction. We are privileged to honor each of you. We hope to embody what you represent each day of our careers. We thank you for your graciousness and congratulate your distinguished and distinct careers. Thank you.
Susan Kaseman, nobody really says it quite eloquently as well as you do. So it's always tough following you, and you really do a nice job capturing the essence of what this night and what these incredible professionals mean to all of us. There are 77 past inductees here in its 14th year. If you are an inductee or if you were a former member of this distinguished recognition, please take a moment and stand up. Mr. Trewitz, there you go. There you go. And to all our family members and students and friends that are out there, we welcome you and are really happy that you're with us here celebrating in this very important moment. I really want to also recognize, I know Diane Dudley has been mentioned a couple different times, but this will be her last year formally chairing. We're going to keep her along to help keep us in line and make sure that we're moving this incredible. But we're really proud of have the opportunity to work with you and grateful for keeping this strong recognition. So, Diane. Now, for what everybody's waiting for, we are going to start with our presentations. We are going to ask that Renee Dozer share her thoughts and present the award to Karen Hess. Yeah, got it.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Karen Hess. Mrs. Hess grew up in Fairport and graduated from Fairport High School. She pursued higher education in the form of a business degree, but once her kids were born, she went back to school to become a teacher. Reflecting on her career experience, she can't imagine following any other career path. She comes from a teaching family and loves school. She returned back to Fairport Schools in 1997 and has spent 22 years in the district as a 9th grade social studies teacher at Minerva DeLand and presently as a 2nd grade paraprofessional at Jefferson Avenue. Her dedication to her students shines through her other duties besides teaching. While at Minerva, she was approached by students who wanted to have a talent show. Being the welcoming individual that she is, she worked with the students to produce this show. She remarks that she learned a new skill during this process, how to run the stage curtains. Mrs. Hess was impressed with the talent of her students, but there was one problem. The rehearsals were running an hour over. Despite this threat, Mrs. Hess remained confident that the show would run smoothly, and miraculously, the real performance stayed within this time constraint. Additionally, she has dedicated her presence to running Games Club and Peer Ambassadors. As a true testament to her love of her students and their interests, she was an advisor to Chess Club, where she was the one being taught how to play by a student. Mrs. Hess is an incredibly humble individual. She chooses not to focus on her awards as her proudest accomplishments in education. Instead, she considers the relationships she's formed with her colleagues, teaching students and herself more about appreciating other cultures and relating history to the modern world to be more noteworthy. As for her tips for success, she revealed to me that she leads with her heart. She added that individuals won't regret the time they spent being a nice person. Mrs. Hess is excited to receive this award, and she would like to thank Patty Hickey for assisting with lesson plans, Jill Garner-Alsop for being a wonderful co-teacher, Pat Moriarty and Pam Serrani for giving her the freedom to teach students, and finally, her husband Ken, family, including children Caroline and Andrew, and her parents. Congratulations on this award. You truly deserve it.
You should be getting the award. You made me look good.
There you go, Karen. It's amazing, and you're going to see a theme throughout this whole evening, how the moments that our students, it wasn't multiple days, it was just a short while they had an opportunity to interact, and how you captured the essence of Karen Renee was really powerful. I have many opportunities to interact with staff and teachers, and Karen, she loves the process of learning. And it's really inspiring to listen to her speak about that process and getting students ready for the next level. And that's what I remember distinctly about your career. And it was really weird seeing you at JA that one day. I was like, whoa, you're back. That was congratulations. Looking forward to hearing Kate Isaac speak on Kay Merlin. Kate Isaac.
Hi, everybody. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Kay Merlin, a 5th grade teacher at Northside Elementary School. Mr. Kay Merlin has spent 19 years teaching in Fairport and an impressive 30 years in the field overall. It is clear that teaching is something he is passionate about. Even from a very young age, Mr. Kay Merlin knew that he wanted to be a teacher and never even considered another career, except maybe being a rock star. He grew up in Peekskill, New York, and would describe himself as a hyper child who always loved the social aspect of school. He played football, baseball, and ran indoor track, all of which speak to these qualities. From 3rd grade to the day he graduated high school, he missed only 2 days of classes. This shows that even from a young age, he loved education and knew the importance of it. Mr. Kay Merlin has had a very successful teaching career. All of his proudest accomplishments in education, he described to me, had one thing in common: that he loves to see that he gets to see the positive impact that he has on many of his students and others. He loves when he sees students in public and they share memories with him that they had from his years with him, that they fondly remember. He also feels honored when a student is able to share a personal aspect of their life with him, both happy and painful. The fact that a student feels comfortable enough to confide in him is something that he is proud of. He also feels that one of his greatest accomplishments is that he has been in the field for so long and still has the burn to teach and will continue to become a better teacher. Mr. Kay Merlin has enjoyed his experience teaching in Fairport schools, largely thanks to the amazing staff that he has had the pleasure of working with. He fondly remembers all of the social events he has been a part of, including Hot Shots volleyball, Bills games, holiday parties, and others. He's had a lot of fun teaching summer school with Chris Bushnell and Marie Debo, and partnering with Sarah Dawson and Abby Beal's third grade classes for Math Buddies. Some of his favorite memories are making the end-of-the-year luncheon videos with Colin Buchter, Mark Hughes, and the rest of the Sunshine Committee. He loves how the staff dress up in ridiculous costumes and act out the storylines, sometimes even in public places. He says these videos have been nothing short of hysterical, and he still laughs every time he watches them. He also has had many fond memories of time spent with students. These memories also include a lot of laughs. Some of his favorites are when students would do a segment of the daily morning show, like puppet and magic shows, or in my class when Karina Catalano taught everyone how to do the Gangnam Style, and then the whole school had to get up and do it with us. I remember I was also the morning show host for this particular week, which is a fond memory I have as well. He also loves going to students' teacher appreciation games, which are always great memories. In addition, he always remembers when parents shows their gratitude. He remembers one particular mom who came in on the last day of school crying and gave him a hug because her son had made such big behavioral and academic gains. All of these memories are ones that Mr. Kay Merlin looks back on and remembers how amazing it is to be a teacher. Mr. Kay Merlin has had quite a few people he would like to thank for helping him along his journey as an educator. He wants to thank his family for always loving and supporting him, and the Kaplan family for nominating him. He would like to thank Carl Fisher for always being a great friend, and the Northside staff, many of whom have become his close friends today. He remarks that his friends at Northside have made the tough times not so tough, and the good times way more fun than they should be. When asked about words of advice he could give to others so that they may share in the same success, he stated that it's never about the pot of gold. At the end of the rainbow, it's only about the rainbow itself. In other words, it's all about the journey. When I look back on my years in elementary school, my 5th grade year stands out, and a lot of the fond memories I carry with me are thanks to Mr. Kay Merlin and the 5th grade class I was in. I am so happy to be able to speak for such a kind and passionate individual who richly deserves this distinction. Thank you for the positive impact you have made on me and so many students, including myself. Thank you, Mr. Kay Merlin. Congratulations.
That was an awesome job. That was great.
Northside, are you in the house? Yeah, I had to do. Oh yeah, I got the. I love that. You know, the first time I met and really interacted with Joe was at Gold's Gym, and clearly he's still working out. And but you know, from that moment and that interaction, it was genuinely a care and love for the teaching profession, and that was in the interaction and the care about. Everything students and everything staff, and it's great to see you all here to celebrate. And you know, Kate, you did a wonderful job of capturing the essence of Mr. Kay Merlin, and it must be really cool to have one of your former students give you away, so to speak. Yeah. Congratulations. Karina Catalano, please come up and celebrate Mary Beth Foote. Yeah!
Hi everyone. So they say all you need to know you learn in kindergarten. I believe that is true because who of my 2 sisters and I had for kindergarten, Mrs. Foote. When Mrs. Foote started teaching at Fairport, she was Miss Welker. Her career started team teaching with my mom and Megan Delahanty, whom she said are 2 of her best teachers that she knows, in the doc. My mom knew she wouldn't be able to keep her at Northside when she helped with my older sister's 3-year-old princess party. She was so amazing with the little kids. When a kindergarten position opened up at Dudley, her friends all knew she found the place that needed her most. I know that she can't imagine being anything other than a teacher, and anyone that has had her couldn't imagine a better kindergarten teacher. From her fantastic voices using puppets who taught us how to learn and behave, to incredible patience and love when someone didn't want to go to daycare and would cry the whole day. She has taught hundreds of kids to be their best and continues to make an impact on everyone each day. Before coming to Fairport, she grew up in Webster. After graduating as a Webster Warrior, she received her education degree at SUNY Geneseo. There are many things about Mrs. Foote that really aren't that surprising. For example, those of you who know her probably aren't surprised that she's very active in sports and a perfectionist when it came to her schoolwork. Growing up with 2 excellent educators and people, her mom and dad, David and Martha, it's not surprising that she became such a fantastic teacher in person. It is also not surprising that she loved and continues to love sports, as she grew up with 3 big brothers, Craig, Paul, and Andrew. Her love of sports led her to coaching Mod B basketball in the district from 2003 to 2010. Mrs. Foote loves the end of the year because year, but probably not for the same reason as most teachers that I know. She loves seeing how far kids can grow from only being able to barely read their names at the beginning of the year to being able to read short stories at the end. A considerable accomplishment she received was the Golden Apple Teacher Award on Channel 10 in 2015. Some of her fondest memories are field days, kindergarten concerts, seeing her former students and catching up with them, the grad walk last year, and graduation parties for old kindergartners. Today and always, her two daughters, Mallory and Mackenzie, help her focus her teaching on what truly matters. She believes children are mirrors and that if we want them to be happy, kind, hardworking, and moral, then we need to be those things for them. Those of you who know her know she absolutely defines those characteristics. I am so lucky and thankful that she was my kindergarten teacher and will always be a part of my family.
You know, I knew Mary Beth when she was Kenzie and Mallory's age, right? And you see Mr. Welker here. You know, this has got to be a proud moment to see all that. And I know that your mom is with you here tonight, too, and is an important part of your journey. So we're proud to celebrate in this moment with you. And it's fascinating. My children have, like I said, have had some of these teachers up here. And my fourth grader, Sammy, who had the gift of having Mrs. Foote, they're still talking about her in the back seat, right? And now they're in fourth grade. That's an incredible legacy. So congratulations. Jillian Russo, please come and speak to the gifts of Mr. Torelli, Mike Torelli, Coach Torelli.
Hi everyone. So throughout his roles as a physical education teacher, lacrosse coach, and assistant athletic director, Coach Torelli has touched so many lives. He began teaching in Fairport in 1989, so in addition to this honor, it's also his 30th anniversary as a Fairport teacher. Growing up, he played football and lacrosse for Webster Thomas. Later, he graduated from Ithaca College, where he coached lacrosse, as well as SUNY Brockport, where he received his graduate in athletic administration. Although he is very humble, he has won a variety of awards within our community, such as the Monroe County Coach of the Year 4 times and the All Greater Rochester Coach of the Year 6 times. His favorite memories in Fairport are from seeing students he coached or taught come back to Fairport, often to join the lacrosse coaching staff. He believes that Fairport has many tremendous people who will work their hardest to make those around them become a better person. His best mentors have been the ones who made him believe in himself. One such mentor he would like to thank is Coach Garrett, who has supported Coach Torelli throughout his whole career and initially was the one who brought him to Fairport as his own student teacher at Martha Brown. A few more impactful figures have been Coach Burkhart and Coach Spencer. Coach Torelli would also like to thank Fairport administrators Mr. Zumbo and Mr. Paddock, who have helped him become a better person and teacher. Lastly, he'd like to thank his wife and his 2 sons, Ronnie and Ryan, who have grown up in the Fairport community. It's a testament to his love of Fairport that he chose to raise his family here. During our interview, I asked Coach Torelli for any advice he could share with my peers and I. He told me going forward to choose a profession that allows me to make a difference. He told me to never blame others and take responsibility for my mistakes. And he told me to never let the energy vampires suck the life out of a positive attitude.
That's right.
Coach Torelli, thank you for being such an incredible part of the Fairport community, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Done. Well done. Well done.
I truly remember the first time I met Coach Torelli. He might have been scouting a game, but I remember I was at R.L. Thomas under the lights. I was a student, right? And him coming up and introducing himself. And then fast forward, so many years later, I have an opportunity to call him colleague and friend. We all seek inspiration from Coach. We're trading quotes and notes of inspiration, and I can't wait for the next one. It's coming. And wonderful job, Jillian. Thank you for putting so much heart and expression into that. I would like Aiden Cornelius to come up to have some thoughts about Mr. Rich Onabeni.
Good evening. Tonight I have the honor of presenting the one and only Rich Onabeni. First off, Mr. Onabeni would like to thank his family. His dad, Aunt Marilyn, Uncle Chuck, cousins Mark and Michelle are all here tonight, so thank you. He would also like to thank his colleagues in the science department who have become, quote, his second family. Now, for those of you who don't know, for this induction, the recipients are only required to meet with the students once for the interview luncheon. However, a couple weeks before, Mr. Onabeni made the effort to find me during a free period and get to know me a little. This wasn't a huge act, but the enthusiasm and an extra bit of effort showed me why he is being inducted tonight. Mr. Onabeni teaches both physics and chemistry here at Fairport High School. He has taught here since 1992, making this his 28th year. Mr. Onabeni was one of the original founders of Fairport's Brotherhood Sisterhood Week, a program that connects the entire Fairport School District and works towards accepting our differences. Mr. Onabeni is also an advocate for LGBTQ youth in our community, as well as the entire state of New York. Thanks to him, Fairport was the second school in Monroe County to have a Gay Straight Alliance, or GSA club. Mr. Onabeni has worked with other teachers in the region to develop similar organizations at other schools. He was also published in a book titled One Teacher in 10, which is about openly gay teachers. Mr. Onabeni advocates for teachers as a whole on a state and national level. He has stood up against excessive testing and advocated for more holistic grading of students, which I believe shows that he really does care about his students. When I spoke with Mr. Onabeni last Tuesday, I asked him about some of the fondest memories of his time at Fairport. His first response was all of the students who have made me laugh. He added that there have been many over the years, and the humor of his students is one of his favorite parts of being a teacher. Another memory of his was the very first Brotherhood Sisterhood Week. He explained to me that Jim Noack, Marcia Steffer, and he had to screen print all of the t-shirts in the art room, which is a daunting task to say the least. He also had fond memories from being a class advisor. He loved planning the proms and balls and of course dancing at them. The last memory, though, was my favorite. He said that helping the kids who struggled, whether it be in science or other aspects of their lives, was one of his favorite parts of teaching. I love this because Mr. Onabeni is more than a science teacher. He is a mentor, a role model, and someone for his students to reach out to. So I found it pretty cool of him to have enjoyed helping those kids. Mr. Onabeni was born in Rochester. However, his family moved to Schenectady at a young age. He attended Niskayuna High School. He then went on to St. Anna College, where he received his Bachelor's of Science. Finally, he made his way back to Rochester, attending the University of Rochester for his master's. Mr. Onabeni said that if he had not gone into education, he would have been the center fielder for the New York Yankees.
I'm ready.
Or perhaps more realistically, more involved in politics. He told me that after he's done teaching, he would be interested in getting more involved in our local political scene. Mr. Onabeni has received a multitude of awards over the years. He was awarded the American Chemical Society Chemistry Teacher of the Year Award in 2002. In 2008, he received the New York State Teacher of the Year. And in 2015, he was inducted into the National Teachers Hall of Fame. He has made 2 trips to the White House for his awards. Some advice that Mr. Onabeni gave me was, let your students and colleagues know that you love them. At the end of one's career, nobody regrets having said, I love you too much. But we often regret not having said it at all. Did I mention he's a poet? Oh, sorry. Mr. Onabeni would like me to close with this. He said that any success he has is shared with the teachers, administrators, support staff, Board of Education members, students, and parents in the Fairport community. And he is forever grateful for their love and support. So I would like to thank you.
Thanks,
you deserve this.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Connor. Thank you so much. Oh, you made me sound great.
Thank you, Aiden. You hit all the finer points, and captured the essence of Mr. Onabeni. I don't mean to, always jump into some personal things, but, he was my son Jake's science teacher, and I don't think of science when I think of Rich Onabeni. I think of a kind, caring, committed educator who wants to deeply engage with his students. I have a lot of personal stories, and I remember you as the ambassador for care, civility, awareness, respect, and embracing differences. Thanks, Rich. I would like to have Madison Kelly please come forward and celebrate Sandy Hudak.
Hello, everyone. So this is Mrs. Hudak, a business teacher, work-based learning coordinator, relatively new driver's ed teacher, community member, mom, and student advocate. She's been working for Fairport Central School District for 18 years. Her proudest accomplishment, when asked, was being able to work with students every day to ensure they're comfortable, confident, and exposed to their future career. She's so proud that the skills that she helps instill will be applicable to students for the rest of their lives. She grew up in Elmira Heights, a small school district with only 96 students in her graduating class. And although Fairport is much larger than that, they still feel the same to her because they resemble the closeness of a family. She was also a cheerleader, but would like me to add in that she didn't do backflips back then. She was still her same outgoing, bubbly, smiley self, even in high school. She worked at Burger King for 6 years, and then after studying at Nazareth, worked at a telecommunication and insurance company. When she decided to stay at home with her son, Sam, she realized how important kids were to her. She decided to go back to Nazareth and came to Fairport as a teacher. She also started to work as a sports and entertainment marketing teacher, where she made some of her best memories at Fairport. Now she works with students like me, trying to find out what they're passionate about. She would like to thank her lovely husband, Tony, her son, Sam, and all of her colleagues who she emphasizes have been nothing but supportive. Mrs. Hudak loves what she does, and she advises everyone to not stop until they find what they're passionate about. I would like to take the time to thank you for all the hard work you have put in. It shows, and every student that walks in your doors knows that you care. You make this school, this community, and everywhere else a better place. Thank you very much.
Great job, Madison. Thank you for sharing so many wonderful thoughts about Sandy Hudak, who is a kindred spirit of mine. I have an opportunity a few years back sit on the first iteration of the curriculum council with her. That's where I first met Sandy, and she fires you up. Nobody could speak about their discipline and get you excited about their discipline, and it comes through in many different ways. You really strive to connect students to life experiences that will help them if they go to college or if they choose a career, and I think that's what we know you for, so we're honored to serve with you. Last but definitely not least, the basketball team is here to recognize Scott Parker. Kat Zimmerman will be sharing some thoughts regarding Scott Parker's nomination and award presentation.
All right. Let the students know that you absolutely love them and help them understand that working hard and being kind are the keys to success. These words by Mr. Parker perfectly portray him as the kind, caring, and humble person he definitely is. Mr. Parker has been working as a teacher for 29 years, 21 of which have been in Fairport. For the last 18 years, he has been a 6th grade teacher at Martha Brown, as well as being the lead 6th grade teacher for 14 years. Outside of the classroom, Mr. Parker is extremely involved. He has been the Modified Boys Assistant Lacrosse Coach for 7 years, the Modified Boys Volleyball Head Coach for 2 years, Ski Club Advisor for 12 years, and the Writing Club Advisor for 2 years. If Mr. Parker did not become a teacher, he probably would have joined the United States Coast Guard. He is always giving back to others, and this is just another example. He has devoted his career to kids and giving his all to them. Mr. Parker has many well-deserved accomplishments. He has received the Channel 8 Apple Teacher of the Month and Office Depot's Teacher of the Month. But besides these accolades, Mr. Parker's biggest accomplishment is the relationships he has with his students. Every year he teaches, he has realized more the powerful impact between the connections of students and their teachers. For Mr. Parker, nothing has been more rewarding than receiving a letter from a former student who is now in 11th grade who he had in 6th grade. The letter said that he had changed her life for the better, and she doesn't know what she would have done if he hadn't been her teacher. Knowing what a powerful impact teachers can have on their students confirms the reason why Mr. Parker became a teacher: to change the lives for the better, one student at a time. Some of his favorite memories from the Fairport district so far are spending his time with his students, having his room filled with kids who want a quiet and safe place to have lunch and play games with their friends. Personally, even though I never had Mr. Parker, I ate lunch in his room regularly, and I can confirm the fact that he connects and goes out of his way to talk to every student. He appreciates seeing student athletes find success after a hard week in practice. Also, Mr. Parker has great memories of skiing down Bristol Mountain with students who have thanked him for taking the time out of his day to bring him to the slopes. Lastly, and maybe most notably, some of his favorite memories are working with students when they finally understand a literary or math concept, and the light that shines inside of them once it clicks. He enjoys spending the extra time with the kids because those are the best memories that come from on the court, the field, the slopes, and in the classroom. He would like to thank his wife, Kate, who encourages him in his work every day, as well as his kids, William, Nicholas, and Mitchell. Also, he would like to thank Caroline Shea, the former principal of Northside, for offering him the opportunity to come into the Fairport district 21 years ago. He'd also like to thank Dave Dunn for his incredible support and mentorship through his years at Martha Brown. And then, most importantly, Mr. Parker would like to thank Julia Foster, a very special young girl who made him a better teacher and person last year. And I just want to say thank you, Mr. Parker.
Kat, you nailed it. You brought up so many memories when you said he wanted to be in the Coast Guard if he wasn't an educator. He's a helper. This past weekend, well, if you need a car, see Scott, right? If you need, especially Jeeps, it was 25 degrees this past Saturday. Something's wrong with my car. There's, what's that called? License plate was, my wife's always on me for it. Can't fix it. He sees it. No joke. He gets a toolbox out of his car. I was like, oh, you're not going to, and he gets a drill and starts drilling. I'm like, what are you? And it's fixed. And way to go. I didn't tell her that you fixed it, though. I told her I did. No, she was there. She was there. And Jim Valvano, the late great basketball coach, said you got to laugh, think, and cry every single day to make it a complete day. When you go into Scott Parker's room, you do all three at one point or another, and that's powerful. And it's an honor to see you teach, and it's an honor to call you friend. Congratulations. To those loved ones who are here, well, how about to our class here? Let's give them a big round of applause. To our students who did an incredible job sharing the stories. Again, this was a 45-minute interaction that they've had, and they were able to summarize and capture the essence of these wonderful, powerful educators who are up here. Our hats are off to you. You make all of our experiences better. Thank you very much, students. To those loved ones, yes, thank you. Do it again. Thank you, Scott. I'll get to this one. To those loved ones who are here tonight, this is your night as well. Thank you for sharing our honorees with us. The countless hours, the early mornings, the late nights, the sleepless nights, and commitment of being a professional educator certainly does not happen without a sacrifice and a greater understanding from a caring family. This is your award too, so please give yourselves and honorees, give our families and friends a round of applause. Mary Beth, Joe, Scott, Sandy, Karen, Rich, and Mike, you are succeeding greatly and gracefully leaving your imprint on the rich legacy and dynamic tapestry of our incredible school district. We are proud to call you colleagues and friends. Thank you for sharing your uniqueness and richness of heart. It has distinguished your persona and professional practice, and has certainly made a difference in Fairport and most importantly, in the lives of others. Congratulations. For some concluding thoughts, I would like Mayor Julie DeMoratz to please come forward and share some thoughts on this wonderful evening. Mayor DeMoratz.
Congratulations. Those are like such great stories. Wow. Good evening. I'm Julie Domeratz, and I'm the mayor in the village of Fairport. I am also a Fairport High School graduate from 1980. So I grew up here in the village of Fairport, and in 2015, moved back into the house that I grew up in, and I realized that this is the first place that I really felt like I was back home again. I was back in the physical home, but being home is this feeling that I have about Fairport. So it's wonderful to be here this evening, and congratulations to all these honorees. It's been so interesting this year to revisit the schools in Fairport that I was last in almost 40 years ago. I just found my locker. It's down that hallway by the art room. My visits allow me to see our schools and our community from a different perspective, with great fondness, and as an adult and a member of the village and of the town of Perrington. I was asked to speak about the connection between schools and their communities. Our community. While researching, I found these statements in a survey that was conducted by the University of Notre Dame. Respondents were asked to report what their school represents to their community. The following are a series of quotes that illustrate the importance of schools to the participants. These strong feelings were common across all the schools. So as you hear these comments, think about Fairport and if these statements apply to how you feel about Fairport. The school represents the future. The school transforms our children. The school is the strength of society. The school is a development agent for the community. The school shines the community. The school makes our children dream differently. The school is a daily bread that feeds our kids' brain with the pride of their future. If there is no school, there is no future for our kids either. The school is educating people who solve the problems of the country and of the community. The school means hope for us and our children. The school is like a treasure that was hidden somewhere, and this community is the one who found it. Schools benefit students, families, teachers, and other stakeholders. Those individuals develop the skills and stability to help others, thereby perpetuating an ongoing process of community development. Lastly, schools can be referred to as bank accounts that are helping communities prepare their futures through their investments in children. Let's pause for a moment to acknowledge the validity of how these statements might apply to our schools here in Fairport. I want to share, these statements were all made about schools in Haiti. So we have the same feeling about our schools that people in countries that are just suffering through being underdeveloped feel about their schools. And I think it gives us this connection to how important schools are to our community and to all communities. I challenge you to consider that these fitting statements are about the schools here in Fairport. The thoughts expressed are universal for communities that value their connection to schools, their students, and families, as we do here in Fairport. And I want to congratulate the honorees for being recognized for their contributions to Fairport schools and to our community. It's through your efforts that we see our Fairport Community Bank account grow and prosper in this way. Thank you. Congratulations. to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate your thoughts and connections to our schools that you did a wonderful job portraying. I would like to invite everybody to a reception by the events entrance where we will be celebrating our new inductees at the Wall of Distinction. I'm sure you're going to want to have pictures, so we'll see you down there in about 5 minutes or so. Congratulations. Great job, man.